Artilleries. In the world of spider tanks, they can be the most challenging weapon to master or just use in general. Now I see all of you contender 3s to aspire 3s really questioning on how to properly use an artillery. I myself am a rocket artillery main, and I do mostly side with now the repair artillery. I might have actually played a few games with you guys. But in today's video, I'm instead going to be passing my secrets to you guys on how to properly use the repair and rocket artilleries. We'll see these key components come through in three main categories. Firstly, through coordination and positioning. Secondly, through map and game sense. And finally, through teamwork. Through these three components, you can easily become one of the best, if not the absolute best, rocket artillery or repair artillery main. Positioning for our repair artillery is the most important thing. As you guys can see in the video, I need to stay both within range of my team and the enemies so I can finish people off like I just did right there. It's also good to be in range of any flamethrower offensive pushes such as jumps or defensive movements like how my team is sitting on the point right now. It is more important for rocket artilleries and Brambler artilleries to stay in range of the enemy team so they can deal sufficient damage, but every artillery should stay within range of enemies and allies, as you can also defend your allies. Map knowledge is the one thing all artilleries have to excel at. Map knowledge allows you to realize where your teammates are relative to you and where enemies are relative to you. As you can see in the clip just a while ago, I just got flamed by a flamethrower. Now this was mostly because I wasn't really paying attention to the flamethrower, instead paying attention to other enemies that could have been a threat, causing me to die. Now, as you go up more and more in the ranks, you'll realize more people have more map knowledge. It's a basis for most things on how flanking works, where you can stay invisible for a long time, and where jumps are possible and not. Knowing map knowledge is probably the most vital thing you can do as an artillery, not only to stay in the enemy's range, but to also figure out where the enemy needs to escape to and cut off their route from there. On top of being able to support your own teammates by making sure they are in range and making sure that their flank is clear from the start. Teamwork. Now you guys might see this point and be a little confused because I've already touched on being within range of your team and making sure your team is alive. The main reason why I bring this up more and more is because of the artillery's main drawback. That being that you are extremely dependent on your team, not only for protection but also for the wins, because your teammates' actions are ultimately what decides a win or a loss. In this case, we won especially well, since our team of Triple X and Sanosuke made the correct decisions and played correctly while I supported them in doing so. At higher ranks, like Champion and Legend and Deity, this won't really be a problem. But for any artillery staying within the contender to aspire range, this will most certainly be an issue, because most attackers, frontliners, and close ranged tanks do not know exactly how to play their role and position very well. As you can see in the clip above, Sanosuke knows how to play his line of sight, and he's making sure any approaching flamethrowers or laser blasters or even repair artilleries are taken care of, while Triple X dives as much as he wants into enemy lines and burns them as much as he wants. This allows not only for me to be safe, but for me to also properly heal both of my teammates at the same time, and if I wanted to, also do damage to the enemy team. This is ultimately what you want to achieve. With a Brambler or a rocket artillery, the main thing to achieve is cutting off enemy flanks. You want to make sure that the enemy, if they're pushed into a corner, does not have an escape route, or if they choose an escape route, that they're dead when they choose it. On top of this, on matches like King of the Hill or Chicken Chaser, it's almost always the best to just hammer down the point the enemy is trying to get on and kill them as fast as possible. This is the main strength of the artillery, that it scales with how good your team is, but it also downscales with how bad your team is. Meaning that teamwork is really the best thing to use here. If you don't have a guild to partner with, or if you're just playing solos, you would likely want to wait for a higher rank before jumping into matches with other solo players. The main pro of being an artillery is that you have a lot of influence on your teammates. This comes in the form of being able to majorly injure enemies coming your way, slow down enemies, and stop your teammates from dying. This also means that the main con of being an artillery is that it matters of your team. If your team is good or bad depends on the outcome of the match for you too. As an artillery, I do run reactive plating. This ability is only for breakthrough kind of plays. And as you've seen in previous games, I've used it when I was outmatched or the enemy is trying to take the point, or in this case, when people are trying to go on to my teammates. This is a main precaution to just stop people from stomping all over me and to give me a little bit of defense on my own in case a flamethrower or shotgun tries to rush me. Now, I have seen other rocket artilleries also use shield. Now, shield is also a very good option for getting out of the way, but it cannot be used in stalling points and eliminating enemies, causing me to not use it. Although, if you've reached a high enough rank, you don't need to listen to me to know what to do and what not to do with an artillery. Overall, artilleries are extremely good to use and to have as they scale with teammates. As a repair artillery, I know that if there's no repair artillery on the other team and I'm in a diamond slash champion slash hero slash legend lobby, that there's most certainly a chance that I'll win just because I can help my teammates even more than in other lobbies. And in the more champion slash contender lobbies, it's not as much of an effect since my teammates don't know proper positioning or damage reduction for themselves. So overall, if you're picking up an artillery, just be prepared for frustration in the early game and to just win in the late game because artilleries go off of their teammates, not themselves. Thank you. Thank you for listening to the video and giving me 8 minutes of your time. If you do have the time though, go ahead and like and subscribe. I'm going to make more videos about more weapons and more playstyles within spidertanks. Also, if you guys have any comments on my editing, because I'm just now using DaVinci's Resolve to edit this, please let me know in the comments below so I can improve my editing skills. Thank you once again and goodbye.